Hi everyone, I'm with Santi today, and I'm so happy that we finally get to record this. We've been working so hard to make this happen, so I'm very excited to have you with me, Santi, today. And yeah, Santi is from Argentina, guys, so this will be a different background today for everyone. He was a former soccer player that he'll share about a little bit now, and he's now an assistant coach. So yeah, Santi, how you're doing, and if you want to tell a little bit how you started with soccer. We all know that I personally know that how like soccer is big in Argentina, and I think everybody found out more about it this year with the World Cup. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Hey, Noor, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate the invitation. And finally, we get to meet after
Yeah.
rescheduling. But well, basically, I've been already here in the US for almost 6 years. I came in early 2021. Um, I I played soccer my whole life. Basically, I started when I don't even remember. I think I was 3 or 4. Um, in Argentina, you play all the time. It's basically the main sport, and there's no close second at all. So everyone plays soccer. So that was my whole life back home. And when I was 17, already started thinking about what I wanted to do for college. In Argentina, the college sports are not big at all. That's not an opportunity. You basically have to choose to play at a high level or study. You can do both at the same time. And whenever I heard the opportunity of I had some friends that came here to the US to do the same thing where they would be playing soccer at a really high level, and studying and getting their college degree, which was something that I've never heard of in my life, at least in South America. That's not common. And I heard about that opportunity. An agency contact me. I had somebody that I knew that went to Bethany College. So, and their coach at the time, Frankie Tal, was really interested in me and made me feel like home. Even though he was from Gambia, West Africa, he really appreciated Argentinians. He called himself an Argentinian himself. So that was funny. And I felt like that was the place that I had to go. So, and ended up at 18 years old, uh, packed my bags by myself and came here to the US to study.
So talking a little bit about, how you said, leaving your hometown very early, honestly, all the conversation I've had about this and leaving and how scared I was usually with girls. So how was that experience for you, as a man? Like, how was like the pressure? Because I believe there's more pressure always on men to perform well, to like get used to things faster. So
Uh,
how was that? Like, did you have an open space to speak about it? Did you have to
def-
trust?
yeah, definitely it was something really difficult, especially at the point in time whenever I moved into the US. It was early 2021, January of 2021. We were still coming out of COVID, which made campus really weird. A lot of people were still back home doing online classes. So only athletes were in on campus. It was that semester, and maybe for the post COVID kids, you guys won't understand, but it was basically all sports were playing in the spring, which was even more weird. Uh, Having to get tested every day for game days and all that made it so weird. And thank God I had a really good team support, and a lot of guys from same cultural background, which made it way easier, especially being in such a small school, which is Bethany College. Um, Even though it feels, after all, it felt like home. At first, it was kind of difficult due to the fact that it was that point in time in the world where everyone didn't know what was going on, and we were coming out of that shell that was quarantine and COVID. So it was definitely really difficult, especially I would say the first 3 or 4 months. In Argentina, everything is switched from here. So we I graduated in December of 2020. I had only a couple weeks to figure out,
Uh,
uh, yeah, when I was going to the US. So I came here after graduating, didn't have any vacation at all, and it was definitely a really weird transition. But it helped me out. My family support, my parents did a lot for me to get here where I am, and I feel that support got me through. But also, I would say the team was a really big part, especially being in Bethany, West Virginia, where there's not much to do outside of college. It was definitely my team that, thankfully, they were almost like a family for me.
hmm And I'm glad to hear that because, as you said, like everybody was probably in the unknown. Like no one, if you're a coach, if you're an AD, probably no one happened. So it's very nice to hear like you had a support system. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
But wow, had like basically just 2 or 3 weeks to adjust, get your stuff together, and move.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big decision. That's a big decision. And how did your like family react to that decision? Like were they I know you said they were fully like, being supportive, but you graduate, you have 2 3 weeks and now you're telling your parents that you're moving to US. How did they, adjust to that?
Yeah, they were definitely super sad. They didn't want to see me leave. They knew it was the best for me, but it was definitely a really difficult decision. Of course, they cried and everything. But though, I have to say they knew what was going on because I've already wanted to do this for a long time. I think that since I was 16, I started mentioning I always wanted to live somewhere else, try, get to know different cultures, speak a different language, which was really cool. And playing soccer abroad, it was one of my dreams. So basically, I was filling out a lot of boxes in my bucket list. So they were really supportive of that. Um, and it was even a more weird time adding this COVID thing because I was supposed to fly mid January, and they started saying in Argentina and the US that borders were going to be closed because like cases were going to start going up. So I even had to change my ticket plane to come a week earlier of what I was supposed to. And it was insane because I had to fly a week earlier, but the school wouldn't allow me to stay there until the 14th. I got here the 7th. So what we did is we talked with like incoming freshmen to stay in a hotel all together in Pittsburgh, waiting for the school to open up. So it was crazy. I was in the same room of people that I didn't even know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, days before, and which was even more insane. But I feel like those experiences make us way of a closer group, and then go through all that hard stuff of that first semester. It was really really helpful at the end, but at the first time it was a crazy experience.
Well, that's a great story, though. You always remember that. Like, I don't think anyone had a start like yours. I mean, of course, the guys that were with you, but I mean, I know a lot of 2021, like freshmen, but I don't think anyone had this. Like, that was crazy. But and then you went to compete. You did 4 or 5 years at Bethany College.
I did 4 years, but I did 5 seasons.
Okay, 5 seasons.
Yeah,
And
due to that we played that first spring. So basically that was a half a season. We only played
yeah.
like 9, 10 games, but yeah, I did technically 5 seasons.
And talking about, soccer in the US, how different it is. Because I know how different it is because I was soccer home. I remember first time I watched soccer here, like just I remember the first thing I really realized and paid attention to is like when you come out of the game, you can go back again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Soccer. and then how the time, like the clock keeps going, like, and then it just stops. Like, it's just so weird. There's no extra time. So like, how did you have to adjust to that? Because I know that's like that makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, back home, soccer is way more technical and not as tactical and physical. So I had to definitely adapt to that. And also, rules, as you said, are completely different, which, for example, the time stopping. That makes it games go over 90 minutes, and usually you end up playing for like 2 hours or 2 hours and something, which it makes it way more physically demanding.
Hmm.
um, and as a defender, for me, it was really really difficult, and I had to change my way of playing because due to the fact that, as you said, there's unlimited subs. So at one point, I was playing and I was defending to four different guys that they were subbing in and
Yeah.
out all the time, which is
Right.
makes
Yeah.
it so different. And due to the way of coaching my coach had, I would play 90 minutes, and then I would be defending guys that only played 20, 15. So they were fresh, and I had to adapt myself, which was, I would say, it it was like 1 or 2 year process where I had to really adapt myself, and I feel like I'm still not adapted, even as a coach, because it's so different.
Yeah.
People experience and see through other lenses that maybe are not the same as I have. So, as you said, it's like so different. But one thing I would say, if I had to pick like one aspect of the game that is really different, I would say the physical aspect is super, super, super different due to the fact that here in the US, people really, really care about like how physical and how fit their players are, which maybe in Argentina that's not the case. Um, and also here, maybe teams and schools have the possibility and the facilities to train athletes a little bit better. So I would say that is a huge aspect that really surprised me whenever I got here. How fast paced and how physically dominant players are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree 100% with you. I mean, playing tennis, like sometimes I came here and I play people that are like double my height, and I'm like, what did I do wrong growing up, or like they're built like definitely like Americans are definitely more built than most of the countries, but I actually never realized like the physical side of I always like as I said like I've always realized how many subs, but I never paid attention who's coming out and who's not. So you saying as a defender, having to defend like four fresh players who are probably different height, different technique, like it's no, that's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
I respect that though. That's probably also than anything because you're out there defending for 30 minutes like a guy that is very physical, and then here you have a very tactical guy coming in, like that's a big adjustment during the game. But also talking, as you mentioned a little bit, now transitioning as a coach because currently you're an assistant coach. uh so how did that transition happen and how did it start? Like, you always want to coach after college? Like, was that always your passion?
No, not really. I'm not one of those kind of people that said since they were little that they wanted to coach. I knew I wanted to stay related to the game. I didn't really know what that process was going to look like, what position I was going to take. I knew of the graduate assistant position. Role. So I was talked into it in my previous school. Things changed, uh, and they weren't offering a master's for international students anymore. So that uh, didn't make me stay at that school. But thankfully enough, the coach here at Wesley Liberty University, which was an alumni and also former coach at my old school, knew me and contacted me, and thankfully enough he gave me this position. But um the process, I would say, I started getting interested, I would say, during my sophomore junior season, where I I got into like the data analysis side of coaching.
Mhm.
Um, right now in soccer, GPS, sports science, and video analysis is getting really big, and I was really interested in that. Basically, because maybe coming from South American soccer, that's not such a big thing, and European soccer and North American soccer. Uh, Maybe are up there when it comes to these aspects. So I really got interested, and I did a couple courses online to figure out if I liked it or not, which I really did, and I got even more in depth into those courses. And whenever I find out about the opening at West Liberty University for their graduate assistant position, I contact Sean. And he was really open to use all those expertise that I might have, and thankfully enough, I have been enjoying it so much here, doing my graduate assistant position here, while I'm getting my master's. So that's a big thing too. But definitely not something that I plan at all. It's just came up. I was always people, usually people say just listen to what people think you're good at. And whenever I was an undergrad, I would stay during the summer at Bethany at school, and there were soccer camps every summer, probably during a whole month. And I would work them, and my former coach always said that I was really good at it, which I've never thought about it, but I'm a people's person. I like to be around people. I like to talk to people. I like to be part of a group. I think that's the big part. Maybe on the other, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on everything I do. I'm not even close. But I like to be. I like whenever people get together, have the same goal, and work together for it. That's my thing. That's what I love, and that's what I like to fight for in any aspect of my life. And I feel like soccer and being a coach kind of brings those two things together that I like, which are soccer and that passion for fighting as a group for something in common. So I feel like that's what gives me that edge to keep going all the time.
I love that. And I love how you mentioned, and exactly like, okay, it was never my plan to be an assistant, but I'm good at it, you know? And I mean, to be honest, like I'm personally going through that right now where I'm about to be done with tennis. I might have a fifth year, we don't know, but
Mhm.
tennis, like I know I'm very good at coaching because I did it before and it was a great experience. But I also know that's not really what I like want to pursue like long term. But
Mhm.
as like, maybe it can be the start for something greater. Maybe it can be the first step to get where you really want. And I love because again, it's not something like easy to realize, to like believe and trust the process to be like, okay, I'm good at this. Let me just keep like following and like trusting it.
Yeah.
But also like, I think it's very important to mention like the mental side of thing right now, like a little bit, because I mean you just got done playing, right? And now you went straight to being a GA for soccer and helping, coaching and helping players perform. So how is that different, like mentally? Because I don't know, I personally like if I'm thinking to, for example, help out with the team and stuff, like I'm scared of how it will be mentally for me because I was just like in that position a few months ago. So it's a little bit like odd, for me. So if you want to like tell me a little bit how that transition happened to you, man.
Yeah, no, definitely. I totally agree. It's a really tough transition because I mean, always that I was done with soccer. In December when soccer season was already done, I wanted to take off a couple months, of course, but being off 1 year, 18 months, 2 years, it already starts getting tough, even though you are technically on the field. You are not there, and it's kind of hard sitting back and not being able to be on it. and competing, and it's a really tough transition mentally because you gotta start realizing you that's not your role anymore. You gotta sit back, advise the guys, help them out from outside the field, during the week, which is really important. And even though you are there with them, it's not what you have to do anymore, which is kind of hard. And it's definitely a transition having to perform every day, and then not having to do it anymore. Even though you have to coach, it's not the same. It's a different mindset that you have to transition into, which I really see myself still in that transition. I haven't even mastered that yet. But the fact that you have it, it's almost like I was a really active player, and that's not and that don't has to be the case for a coach, because your mind has to be way lower, calmer than everyone else, because you have to take decisions that affect the whole team. So you can't be going crazy as I did in the field. You have to chill a little bit, which is really difficult, especially during like really intense games, which um, sometimes you have to take a step back, relax, take a couple deep breaths, and think what you're gonna say, because anything you can say can affect your players and their performance. So you gotta think twice, three, four, five times before saying something. You
Yeah.
know.
No, I love that. I love that because I think what the main points you talked about is owning your role, right? And I think like even for me, just being a student now, I remember last year where I had a month where I couldn't play. And usually I'm always like the athlete, even though I don't advise this, I always push through injuries, and I always want to play. I always it's like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then coming last year, they were like, no, nor like no more pushing, like get get rest for a month. And I couldn't like I was like fighting owning my role because instead of like, I was not even like I was like kind of a volunteer assistant coach, like helping my teammates, but you're sitting on the bench and you're looking trying to help them mentally, but you're like, man, I wish I can just go in for 2 points, 20 minutes.
Mm, mm, yeah.
But you can. So I mean, it's definitely as you said, like it's a lot of different things that you don't realize them till you're in that moment. Like as you said, like I will have thought like, having still that energy as a coach, of course, can help the players, but also at a different times. Probably you help a lot with drills. I mean, I don't know exactly how soccer like drills work, but for us, then assistant coach, and especially in our age, you still have the skills to play well and the level, so you always help and play with the players and run with them and everything. But then you're not playing the match, so it's like it's
Yeah.
just lot mentally to adjust to. Um, but again, back to like a little bit to the transition part, right, Santi? For the people who are listening to us today, me and Santi met last year at the Career Sport Forum with the NCAA, who
Mm,
I hear your experience from that because talking a little bit about myself here, that program literally changed my perspective on a lot of things and kind of helped me figure out my purpose. So I want to know a little bit because I mean we were in different time periods when we went because I was still a junior, you were a senior doing this
mm.
transition. So how was that experience for you?
It definitely, as you said, it definitely changed something in me. That was not my first NCAA conference.
Uh,
I already went to before that. I went to the Student Athlete Leadership Forum, which was like a really big experience for me too. But I think the Career in Sports Forum gave me the perspective and gave I think the made me sure that I wanted to have a career in sports. So I feel like that was like the last thing that told me, yes, Santi, go for it. So it was definitely helpful, and I feel like one of the biggest things for me in all these conferences that I went to, because after the career forum, I went to another one, um, we was which was early leaders, um, for NCAA, and that is only for graduate assistants or like faculty. And definitely all the what I take, other than of course all the content, which is really really good, and it help gives me other perspectives, and hearing all those super important people, super successful people tell you about their process and their careers. It's really nice. But I feel like one of the biggest things is like though these relationships that we build like across, other than like networking up
Mm.
and down across, those are the most valuable relationships I took from there. And I feel like the most valuable things I took from those conferences, because being able to talk and brainstorm stuff, like even ask for advice, people that are going through your same process, and seeing what their perspectives are, uh, coming from different backgrounds and different careers. We are all in the same boat. We all most likely want to do the same thing, or like around the same thing. So that was one of the biggest things, and I'm in touch with a lot of the guys from that conference, and I feel like also seeing that you're not the only one in going through the same troubles and like same things, that was one of the biggest things. And I feel like in the career forum, one of the best things that we did was that international student meeting, which was like super good, made me feel so good, seeing other people go through the same stuff as you do day to day. I feel like that was super good. And I still remember to this day. And I still, as I said, I'm still in touch with so many of the guys. So that was definitely something that helped me out. And I'm even, I would say that gave me like energy, and that thing to keep going. So I feel like, yeah, I would say that that was one of the biggest things from that conference.
Yes, definitely. I want to shout out everybody that helped us. Honestly, the staff like Dr. Ash for the international dinner, and Ashley too for making such a great program. But as you said, like it was a great networking event, and hearing advice from all those successful people, and learning also like about all the things you can do in sports. Uh, definitely, as you said, like the connections we made as student athletes, and like as young professionals, it was amazing. And since like I still remember me before going to that event, the day I'm traveling, I'm like, why did I do this to myself? No, like I looked each one of you guys names, 200 of you guys, I don't know anyone. I'm like, what are the chances? Like, how can any of this? Like, why did I do this to myself? Why am I going to the NCAA? And then I came out 4 days later, and I'm like, every person that I meet or like I know, and they actually, but especially here in school, like coming back, a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, what was that?" Whatever, and all I say, if you can go, please go. Like literally, just go. Don't worry about it. You're gonna come out a better person. So shout out to everybody that offered and helped bring that program for us. But also just few other things I want to talk about, like building a career in sports. I think we all know that it's very different than building a professional like career in the business or corporate world. And being in sports, definitely you need a lot of more contacts and network, but also you need to be open to volunteering, to give out your time, to show up even that when they don't really need you, but show up, try to help. So, as now you're early in your career, if you want to share a little bit about that.
I would say definitely just as you said, do as much as you can, be present, show up to every opportunity you have. You never know who you're gonna meet, and be yourself. I not try to impress somebody by doing something you're not. I always try to be myself, and I feel like that's sometimes resonates with a lot of people. Um, not trying to super do something you're not just to impress somebody. I feel that's not something good for people, and people can tell whenever you're doing that. But yes, just get out of your shell. Just do as much as you can. Show up all the time. I feel like um But as you said, networking events are like huge. Those conferences are huge. Getting into leadership positions early in your career, that's huge too. Um, I feel like being a captain in my team helped me a lot than to be a coach, because I was already in that kind of position, or where I had to tell people like you're not doing the correct thing, you have to change, or keep going, do this, which, as I said, like helped me a lot into the coach I am today. But also being humble, and trying to learn and listen to the people. I feel like a lot of times we want to go to a networking event, or we want to go to uh, somewhere, a meeting or something, and we want to get our name across, and we talk a lot, which is not, it's fine, but I feel like listening, a lot of people want to listen. So listening to those people that want to talk, especially if it's someone that you want to get to know, somebody that might get you into somewhere, I feel like putting that ear, and asking questions, I feel like that's even sometimes gets across even more than just talking, because those people in those higher up roles, they listen to people all the time that want to get to know them or something like that. If you are able to get your name across by listening to somebody, I feel like you can make that difference where you get across as a better person. I don't know, but just somebody that is interested in that person, not just somebody that, hey, my name is, and I do this, I'm good at this, and this. Yeah, you can get to that later, but first
Hmm.
be respectful, and listen to the other person, what they have to say. I feel like that got me, at least for myself, that got me across a lot of times, and you get to know way more people than you expect. Uh, that's why I always say, I don't know if in the US this is a common quote, but in Argentina we say that's why we have 2 ears and one mouth, to listen more than we speak.
Oh, that I don't know. That's a nice one.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
love that advice, and it's so true, because as you said, like, being open, trying to get to know those people, then just trying to get something out of them is very important.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Uh-huh.
but just to wrap up here, I want to ask a different question to you, Santi, today, because I got to like meet a different like side of you today, which not
Uh-huh.
like because I just met you like last year. We were both student athletes. I know like your love of wanting to learn and grow and learn new things. But I also know the fun side of Santi, as a friend. And now I got to know more of your story. So I want to ask you this for our final question here today. What's like one word that will describe you today, like in general, with everything you've been through, everything you experienced, and everything like all the legacy you want to leave behind? Just one word.
Oh, that's a really hard question. You put me in the spot here. I don't know. I don't know. I just that's really hard, but I would say I would say I would describe myself as and it's not from a cocky side, but I want to be transformational, or like I feel like
that
we live yeah, we
that
live in such a
that's
transactional world.
mm, that's our company word, being informational. So please explain that.
Yeah, I feel like we live in such a transactional world where only people are just it they base relationships and like conversations and like things they do just for a transaction. You give me this, and I give you this. Where I hate that. I mean, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, but I try to do everything from a transformational standpoint, where if I do something, is because I really want to come across and change something, you know. There's so many things that are wrong in this world, where like I want to be able to get an impact. And even it's not that I know I'm not gonna end wars or something, but if I can change like
Something small.
people around me, their
Mm-hmm.
life, make it a little bit better. That's what I live for. So that's my mottos, and I feel that I try to live by that.
Mhm. Well, I'll tell you this from a friend that met you last year. You are a trend, like you are different. Like when you enter the room, there's a different vibe. You make a difference in our life, at least like for the 4 days we've met you, you know. So you're on the right path on that. But I love what you shared, you know. And I remember something we learned there at the NCAA. They used to tell us like everyone can make a difference. Choose what difference you make. So basically, you can make a good or a bad difference. You choose. You choose every day how you make that difference, you know? And I love that. And I love honestly to get to know you more today, get to know more about your story, your purposes, your passion, you know. I love spending time to talk to you, Santi. So thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time to talk and share everything you shared with us. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Noor. Thank you for having me here. That it was a pleasure, and anytime.
Of course. Thank you.